So I would say I am not a good onion grower. I've struggled specifically in this area trying to find a good plot that would give us good sizable onions. Or maybe I'm just comparing my onions to what you see in the grocery store, and ultimately I just don't hit that standard, and maybe that standard is just too high of a standard for me to hit it. But I can grow onions, but I tend to grow a lot more of the green tops rather than the actual onion itself. So this is a mixture of bulbs you can buy as well as seeds. They're pretty much looking the same as they usually are. I've had a few bolt already. Some of them stems look pretty good. Bulbs are coming out, so I'm still trying to figure out bulbs versus seeds and which actually works, as well as the plots. This one gets a lot more sun than the ones I've tried previously. Looking good. We'll see when the incinerator turns up the heat and see what happens to these guys. But for right now, I would say typical year where they look good. Whether they'll actually produce a good sizable bulb is yet to be seen. But there are certain things, certain vegetables that you can overwinter. So that is planting in the fall and then harvesting in the spring or summer, whatever it may be. Garlic is probably the most well known for all these sorts of things, but you can do it with onions. So I did it last year for the first time. I've overwintered once with garlic before, and it just kind of took long to come to fruition, so it got taken out before anything came out. So I tried onions in the greenhouse. This is in the greenhouse, so isolated from the actual snow itself, but still in the cold. So these were started from seed in about September, October, and just let to go. I really didn't put anything to it. I really didn't even water, didn't really do anything to help them out. And you can see I've gotten those big sizable onions. So that is the size of my fist. So that's pretty much close to a softball already. So if you Google, there are specific well-known varieties of onions that produce large bulbs. This is two of them. The white one is Alyssa Craig, and the other one is Rosa di Milano. So I wasn't really too particular about germination. It just whatever had worked in that time frame. Threw the seed in up to a point where it kind of looked like those in the garden bed right now, and then they don't die or turn colors. They essentially just stay as that. They just don't grow. And then once the sun increases as well as the warmth, then they start growing. So like typical onions, their tops die off, signaling that they are done. Probably half of them bolted because it gets 400 degrees in here, but half did remain with a couple shining stars. But you still do get the smaller bulbs, as you can see here. So it's not a 100% tried and true method where it does work, because you see small, large, and large. But I would say these are by far, without a doubt, the largest onions I've ever grown. So they're almost fully dead, probably picked in the next week or so. So overwintering onions, you can do it. This was in a greenhouse. You can probably do it on the outside and put in a tarp into it, but highly recommend that if you do want the larger onions. So this is October-ish range, harvesting this mid-June. So 2 or 3 months of growing in the spring tends to get them up to this. So definitely onions that can be harvested and eaten for the next couple weeks to a month until the next ones come out. So nothing really special to overwintering. Get them up to a point where they're sustainable plants. Give them a little water, maybe once a month at best, and just let them go. Very low maintenance, did nothing to do with these things. In the spring, did nothing to do with these things. Maybe give them some water, a little more and higher frequency, but other than that, just let them go when they grew up to this point. So highly recommend that if you have an isolated spot, somewhat sunny, that overwintering onions works pretty well.